Which should you buy between the Tecno Camon 30 4G or Tecno Camon 30 Pro? Considering our standards of living right now, is it actually reasonable to spend 300,000 naira on the 4G variant or 570,000 on the Pro 5G variant? You might be thinking the price gap is enormous. Why should you even compare them, as the Camon 30 Pro 5G is clearly ahead? But think about it this way: the Tecno Camon 30 4G comes with a base 256 gigs of storage, which retails almost anywhere at about 300,000. And if you look up the Camon 30 Pro, even if it retails at 570,000, that price is specifically for a higher storage option of 512 gigs, which doesn't actually make it fair. However, there's also a 256 gigs variant for the Camon 30 Pro, and it in itself retails at about 500k, which puts the gap at about 200k. So in this video, we are going to be answering a huge question: is it better to buy the Camon 30 4G at 300k or the Camon 30 Pro at 500k? Let's start with design. Both phones sport an aesthetically pleasing, eco-friendly silicone polymer finish, which is extremely nice to the touch. Due to its grippy nature, both phones would have a hard time slipping out of your hands, and I even like the position of the camera module. Though it protrudes out quite a bit, I don't think it will be enough to cause a lot of table wobbling. In this area, I'll classify it as a draw because both designs are almost identical. But when you think of that incredible 200,000 naira gap, should both displays be identical? Well, the Camon 30 4G has a 1080p AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate, and that's very good for the price and even 2024 standards as a whole. But display of the Camon 30 Pro goes beyond that. Not only do you get even slimmer bezels, in terms of specifications, this Pro variant also brings a 144Hz refresh rate, being the only one out of the entire Camon 30 lineup to do so. And if you're enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel will be refreshing. So that depends on how you perceive the display. In my opinion, you can hardly tell a 120Hz display from a 144Hz display, especially while using them side by side. Aside maybe the cameras, I think performance is the most important area when deciding between two phones. And even if you may feel like slapping me for wasting your time showcasing similarities here, this is one area that isn't similar. The Camon 30 Pro is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 200 Ultimate chipset, a bleeding edge 4nm processor. And not only do we get incredible benchmark scores and temperature management, when you pair that with generous 8 gigs of RAM, I'm not sure you actually tell the difference between this and an actual flagship phone. And as an icing on the cake, it has 5G connectivity, though this isn't really useful here in Nigeria. On the other hand, the Camon 30 4G is powered by the MediaTek Helio G99 Ultimate chipset, and seeing 4G already in the name means this phone doesn't support 5G connectivity. But the chipset is still one of the best budget chipsets out there on the market, playing even the most demanding titles but at much lower graphics and settings. And in comparison, the Dimensity 200 Ultimate is nearly double the performance of the Helio G99 Ultimate, which clearly explains the price gap. But that's not all. The Camon 30 Pro has even better cameras. Both phones have a 15MP main camera with an auxiliary lens added to the Camon 30 4G for depth perception, which helps in more reliable focusing. The Camon 30 Pro, however, brings an ultra-wide camera, which is very useful, considering its 50MP resolution. But that isn't why I said this camera is better. Apparently, the Camon 30 Pro can shoot video at 4K resolution on both rear and selfie cameras, unlike the 2K resolution you are limited to on the Camon 30 4G. And the reason for that is 2K being the highest supported video resolution which the Helio G99 Ultimate powering the 4G variant can actually render. Even in photos, the quality is slightly upped on the Camon 30 Pro, which is another outcome of this chipset. So in other areas like the software, the storage and RAM options, the battery and charging speed, even the feature set, everything is basically the same on both devices. And if we tell ourselves the truth, the Camon 30 Pro is the overall better value for money, even if it's more expensive. I appreciate a lot of things that we're getting for the price, such as a 144Hz refresh rate panel and a beefy chipset which supports true 4K video recording. That's what you find on $1,000 plus phones in general. But I'm not in your wallet, and if you think 300,000 is still what your budget says, then go for it. The Camon 30 4G is still very reliable. But if you're actually interested in the Camon 30 Pro, click on the card on the screen to check out my in-depth review of that phone, and I will see you over there.